Okay, this is an example of excuse me, of how to draw a three-dimensional object. In order to draw a three-dimensional object, we are going to draw basically a wireframe on different two-dimensional planes, and then we're going to connect them with a spline curve. Okay, so I guess I don't know if I call it a wireframe, but anyway, you'll see what I mean. So we're going to start with a 2D sketch here, start 2D sketch, and we'll just draw on the XY plane as usual. And let's just draw a rectangle. And when you're doing this, you're going to be concerned about size, but here I'm just going to make it sort of, oops, wait, I have the wrong kind of rectangle. Undo, I'm just going to go to the rectangle tool and drop down and just do a 2-point rectangle. And let's just draw a rectangle. Okay. There's a single rectangle. I'm going to finish. What I want to do is create something that is join. What we're going to do is join three two-dimensional rectangles that are in different planes to make a three-dimensional object. So there's a single rectangle. I just drew it and then clicked finish. Now I'm going to draw a second rectangle in a different plane. So I'm going to go to plane here. Plane, and I'm going to drop down the origin, the planes here. And so I want to start with the XY plane, which is where I drew that rectangle. Choose XY plane, and then go over here and don't choose that, don't choose that. Choose the actual plane of the rectangle. I'm dropping my cursor, I'm holding the cursor down and dragging it out. So I'm going to create a new plane. Let's see, it's just, I don't know, I might make it an inch away. I don't know how big my original was, but make it an inch away, one, and then click check. And if whatever you do you can't see on the screen, you go over here to our little cube in the upper right hand corner, click on it and click home, and home is going to show everything on the screen. Okay, so now we've got a new plane to draw on. Our new plane to draw on is here. I'm going to go to Start 2D Sketch, Start 2D Sketch. I'm going to choose the plane to draw on, put my cursor over it until it turns green. Okay, I'm going to draw on that plane. Now what I want to do is, because I'm drawing 3D object, I want to actually draw 3D objects that's rotated in space, right? So if you think of a fan blade as three rectangles that are rotated in space, you'll see where we're going here. I'm going to draw a new rectangle, but I'm going to draw it at an angle relative to that one on the new plane that is away from the original rectangle. So I'm going to go here to the rectangle function, and I'm going to drop this down and do a 3-point center. That means, in other words, it's going to draw on the same center as the other one, but at an angle. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor in approximately the center and draw a line. And I'm going to make this slightly larger rectangle. So I hold down my cursor and drag out, make it a slightly larger rectangle at an angle. If the original rectangle was at 90 degrees, and let's make this maybe at 110 degrees, approximately, doesn't matter. I'm gonna now, whoops, click, okay, make a rectangle, basically the same width, but slightly longer rectangle at an angle. Okay, so there's my second rectangle. Finish. I'm gonna hit the little home button over here. Okay, so now you can see I have two rectangles, one slightly bigger than the other and an angle to the other. Now I want to create a third one. I guess I could do it with just two, but let's create a third one. Let's make a new plane, new plane. I'm going to go to XY plane, and I'm going to go and take this. So I chose a plane here, starting from the XY plane here. Now I'm going to go to where that plane is shown, this blue XY plane, put my cursor so I can drag it out. If the first one was at an inch, maybe I want the second one at 2 inches. So I'm just going to put in 2 inches so I don't have to drag it all the way out there. Click check, and now you can't see it on the screen. So again, I'll go back up to my little view menu up here and click home. Okay, now I can see all three. Now I've got another plane I can draw on. Here's my other plane I can draw on. I'm going to do start 2D sketch. I'm going to draw on this plane, put my cursor over it until it turns green, draw on this plane, and I want a third rectangle. I'm going to make it slightly longer, same width, at a slightly different angle so that I can have a twisted object in space. So I'm going to go to my rectangle. I'm still going to use the 3-point center so that I can choose, they can all be centered together. And I'm going to go click on approximately the center, pull a line out. Okay, the line is going to be slightly longer than the other one. And again, you might care about the dimensions. Right now, I'm not going to care. And click so that I can now make it about the same width as the other ones. And there we go. We've got 3 rectangles on different planes. Click finish, and look, we've got 3 rectangles on different planes. Now I'm done with my planes, so I don't need to see them anymore. So I can actually go over here to the left menu, and this work plane 1, I can right click on it and choose to turn off the visibility so I don't have to see it. The work plane 2, right click on it, turn off the visibility. So now I've got 3 rectangles. Let's go to home up here. 3 rectangles, approximately the same width, growing length on 3 different planes. Now, to make this into a 3-dimensional object, I can go now to do a 3D sketch. So up here in the upper left-hand corner, instead of start 2D sketch, I'm going to drop that down and do start 3D sketch. Notice that now we have some other commands. Here's I want to use the spline command to connect all these together. So what a spline curve is, it interpolates between things. So I'm going to choose the spline curve and choose interpolation. And I want to connect the upper right-hand corners of each of these planes. So I'm going to start on any one of them. I'll start on this one here, the big one in the upper right-hand corner, and click on it once, and then go to the upper right-hand corner of the other one, click on it once, and go to the upper right-hand corner of the last one, click on it, and now, whoops, and it's created a line, but look, it wants to do a 4th line. Let's just choose check here, so that there. Okay, so those 3 corners are connected. Let's do the same for the back corner, upper back corners. Spline, interpolation, choose the upper left-hand corner of the first one, drag it to the second one. Oh, there we go. And the third one, there we go. And then choose the check. Okay, to make sure that we got the right corners, we can always rotate this to make sure that we got the right corners. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom half. Let's rotate this in a way that, well, maybe that's good enough. Spline, interpolation, and the bottom right-hand corner. Boom. Connect that, connect that, connect that to all 3 rectangles, and check mark. So those are connected. Now I'm going to rotate a little bit. Whoops. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Whoops. So I can see the other corners. That's good enough. There we go. I can see the other corners. I'm going to connect them with a spline curve, interpolation, and that last corner to that last corner to that last corner. Click the check mark. And now I've got a 3-dimensional wireframe, what I call a 3-dimensional wireframe. I'm going to click finish. Okay, so we're going to now turn this into a 3-dimensional object by choosing loft. Loft. Okay, so we go in 3D model. We're going to choose loft, and I'm going to go to sections here. Sections, and I'm going to go ahead and click the sections to connect. It's the 3 rectangles. That's what the sections are. So rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. And look, it's connected all 3 with this looks like a 3D body. I've done this before where it doesn't connect them the way you think it does in terms of making a 3-dimensional object. In that case, you would want to click rails and make sure to, then we're going to click, rails, and we're going to, click to add, sorry. We're going to click on the 4 rails, which are these 4 splines that we created. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't actually have to, I didn't have to do that for the design I just made because it had connected them correctly. But in case there's some empty spaces not filled with green, you want to do that to make sure it fills everything with green. Now click OK, and look, now I've got a three-dimensional twisted object. Three-dimensional twisted object. Now, I mean, I'm thinking fan blade here. This is not an ideal fan blade. You can actually really think about this, about how to create a good looking fan blade, but I can go ahead and I can fillet this. So I'm going to choose this edge to curve, to put a curve in. I'm going to choose this edge. So I'm going to go to fillet and I'm going to choose this edge, and look, it gives us a curve. Well, we want that curve to be a little bigger. So I might choose, I don't know how big my dimensions were originally, but let's try 0.4. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then I'm going to fillet the other edge. Let's rotate this around. Fillet the other edge. Fillet. Choose this edge right there. 0.4. Okay. All right. So that's not an unreasonable fan blade. There we go. There's a fan blade. And now you could take that fan blade and you could make any number of them around in a circle by somehow figuring out how to put them maybe in a, well, sorry, I was forgetting the word, either in an assembly, so you can make one of these and put them in an assembly, or you can just somehow create 6 of them around a circle. I mean, 6 doesn't have to be 6, right? Any number of them, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, in a circle. But anyway, that's how to create a single fan blade. And then one other thing you can think about is the fact that this is still very square on these edges. You could actually fillet those edges. I'm going to go and see what that looks like if I say I want to fillet instead now this edge and this edge. Something reasonable, 0.1. That doesn't seem to be 0.15. It's not doing anything. Oh, no, that doesn't work. But you could figure out how to curve these edges a little bit if you care. Okay, that's what I got.